All right. Welcome to a brief discussion on how you should plan your nutrition or how to handle nutrition for the holidays. I am CHP coach Anthony Durazio, and to my left is CHP CrossFit coach Kenny Barber. Kenny, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Doing well. So I figured we'd do a brief 5 minutes thought or bit of advice for people that may struggle or panic about nutrition over the holidays. And so let's start with you. So let's say I'm a client and I come, I was someone that was in this position. And I was worried, what would be the first piece of advice you would give someone in this position?
A big thing I like to really break down to people is the amount of meals, right, that can go into this time frame, right? So think of like just say a month, right? Go from Thanksgiving to New Year's Eve. Say you eat just generically 3 times a day, right, for 5 weeks, we'll say, right? That's 21 meals a week. That's times five, right? It's 105 meals. Then you have Thanksgiving. I know you know where I'm going with this. You got Christmas Eve, say, we'll give you one office party, right? Maybe your friend's party, and then New Year's and New Year's Day, right? So 7 meals or 7 eating events out of 105. It's okay to enjoy yourself, right? And, I think people get really um, nervous about it. The scale's going to go up, right? All these things come into your mind. And yeah, is it going to go up? Sure. You have more food in your stomach, more sodium, more water in your body, right? Increasing carbohydrates increases water retention, stuff like that. You're going to see those things happen. But if you just get back to it the next day, start tracking your food again, get back to the calorie amounts you're usually at, even if you maintain through those 5 weeks, that's a win, right? We've seen the numbers. A lot of people will gain weight through the holidays, right? And that's where they start to accumulate extra weight that they don't want. So, if you can really think of it in a 5 to 7 meal range out of lots of meals that you could do really well at, and don't beat yourself up for enjoying your family and enjoying foods, right? Holidays based around foods. That's what we want to do. It's fun, right? So have that time, enjoy that time. Don't see it as a bad thing. See it as a time to relax a little bit. Thanksgiving, right? It's. I always talk about too, like it's turkey. That's a great lean protein. Right? There's usually vegetables, mashed potatoes. There's your carbs, right? So you can make a pretty easy meal there, But then we have desserts, and we have, I'm personally, I don't like to get to that point where I feel like I'm going to burst, right? I like to, right? And you don't have to go crazy. Enjoy things, enjoy them in moderation, have a good time. Maybe be a little mindful of your portions, and maybe don't have the third dessert, right? But stuff like that is like really what I try to drive home to my clients and make them understand that like it's okay to enjoy these holidays, but don't turn it into a week long extravaganza of
Yeah.
eating, right? And that's where you get in trouble.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. I also would say, other things I'd like to mention to clients of mine is, watch alcohol intake, right? That's a
Yeah, that's a
sneaky
huge
way
one.
people tend
Yeah,
to add a lot of calories very quickly
yeah,
because so things I'll tell people is, hey, if you feel the need to drink alcohol, set limits before you go out. Like I'm having a drink.
yeah,
If you can work it into your normal intake for the day, even better. So it's just, hey, it's just, all right, I'm giving myself my one drink and this is taking
yeah,
the replacement of this, it's just counting as 100 calories towards my total for the day. So I pulled out 100 calories elsewhere. Great. The issue is, one drink becomes 8 drinks, and then
yeah.
by your sixth drink, you're not paying attention. You're eating a bunch of
And you're
food
eating,
as
yeah,
well. So it
yep,
just becomes an entire disaster.
yep,
So, watching that I would say is a big thing for people. I would also say, piggybacking on what you said, is don't let one meal or one event throw off how you feel about your successfulness, right? Don't, if you know seeing the scale go up messes with your head, don't weigh yourself the day after, you know, you have one of these events, right? So don't weigh yourself on the 26th of December or the 25th of December, right? Wait until the 27th or 28th after you've sort of been back on your normal plan for a day or two, and then start, getting back on the scale if that's something you typically do. Just fall, like as Kenny said, fall back into your normal routine, I think is the biggest thing.
Yeah. And I'll tell people too, like those habits, that's what's making your success. Like it's not one day here or there. It's not one
Yeah.
meal here or there. Those daily things that you're doing, that's what's going to create long-term success. And don't look at it in that bubble, right? It's just a couple weeks here. You have the whole rest of your life to keep going, right? Just don't think of it as like, oh my God, I'm up in the weight and, the world's ending, right? No, you just get back to it. And now you have, and I tell people too, I have a lot of clients that are just looking to maintain right now. I might even bump their food up right now. Just kind of like, hey,
Yeah.
here's your ceiling, right? If you get there, cool. If not, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And it really helps some people, right? It's not a same prescription for everyone, but it does help a lot of clients this time of year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it does, as a coach, it helps, as you mentioned, sort of give people a range
Mm-hmm.
to work within. And it takes some of the stress off if you're, if you're saying, no, it's 2,000 calories just as a number, and that's sort of on the edge of a deficit, maybe just caloric for
Yeah.
someone. You go, hey, let's, for the next couple of weeks, let's bump to 22, 2,300. Just keep it, if you get there, great. Like you said, if you end up at 2050, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
Something else I'll tell my clients is, especially people that have been with me longer term or been sort of, working longer term is, hey, this is a good time to rely on the habits you've built up, right? Especially if people travel. People are usually traveling for the holidays, so they're gone for maybe a week or a couple of days. You might say, okay, I hear what you're saying about one meal being, these few meals being actual meals, but for traveling, it's a lot harder to stay,
yeah, it could be a
on
week's worth.
target.
It could be a week's worth of meals, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and so what I tell people is like, look, if you've been sort of very consistent with what you're doing, your body knows, like you intuitively know, oh, this is about how much lean protein I get per day, right?
Yeah.
Or per meal, I should like look for this amount of lean protein. You can kind of eyeball it, and how you feel after your meals. Like, I should feel this full. I normally eat about this time and about this amount of food, right? And if you sort of stick to those general patterns, your habits will carry you through.
Yeah.
Um, just like you said, just being at least a little bit mindful of that stuff, and not necessarily stuffing your face just to stuff your face works really
just
well.
just because you're not tracking per se, right? You can
Yeah,
still track, right, using your eyeballs and your stomach. Um, just because you're away for a week doesn't mean you have to eat like you're away, every
yeah,
day, right? Enjoy your holiday, but also, if there's some days before or after where you just, want to eat a lean protein and a starch and a vegetable every meal, you can still do that, right? But
yeah,
you made a great point about alcohol, right? And I didn't really bring that up because that's where you get in trouble, right? Because then it comes into mindlessly eating sometimes, and sometimes you're not even aware what you ate at that point, right? So it's like, that's where it can kind of hit you twice, right? With the alcohol, calories, and then around this time of the year, there's super high calorie drinks, martinis, eggnog, stuff like that, where it's like,
eggnog's so good.
yeah, I mean, of course, it's delicious, right? And then you look at the calories, you're like, whew,
Oh yeah, we don't.
right? But it's very like my wife makes these like these martinis that taste like milkshakes, right? They're delicious. They're probably like 500 calories every drink. So that's why I have to limit them to maybe one, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's being mindful of that stuff, and again, just knowing that this is a couple weeks out of the year, so many meals. But like you said, if you are traveling and in a situation where you might be like, hey, we're going out every night to eat this week, you can still make a good choice at the restaurant, right? It doesn't mean you have to eat 9 pieces of pizza and a burger just because you go out to eat. Um, you just decide your battle, right? If you make those good choices there, you can enjoy the holiday, and then just get right back to it, right? So
yeah. The last thing I would mention is something I mentioned to a client recently, or I was talking with somebody, is to think about reframing your approach to the holidays. I mean, this is obviously we're past Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving gets this rap of being like, oh, we're all gonna, it's where we eat so much. Well, okay, how about you reframe that and say, hey, this is where we spend so much time with friends and family,
yeah,
and yeah, there happens to be a delicious tasting meal. Doesn't mean you have to eat so much of that meal, right? It just means the food that's there is delicious, right? So you enjoy the meal, but the focus is on the time with those around you. That might not be true for everyone, right? Maybe you spend Thanksgiving alone. That's cool, right? If that makes you
yeah,
happy, that's cool, right? But just reframing your approach to the holiday and what it really, I hate to say what it really means, but what it means to you, right? If that means spending time with family, if that means spending time with your dogs or your, other pets, that whatever,
Yeah, whatever it is.
focusing on that rather than the food aspect of it, I think can really help, right? When this Thanksgiving, right, I had like a normal sized meal, right? Maybe a little bit more, but it was my first meal of the day. It was 2 p.m.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, my wife, like, she's huge on Thanksgiving, right? So lots of apps, lots of that kind of stuff. And look, I had some apps. I ate my turkey and mashed potatoes and stuff at dinner. I had a piece of pie, but then I was out. Like, I didn't want to feel like I was going to pop, right? I hate that feeling.
yeah,
I
it's
don't
not a
like
good
to feel
feeling.
that way. No,
It's not a good
you
feeling.
can't move, right? You just feel awful. So, have I done that before? Absolutely. And every time you're like, oh my God, why did I eat that? Right. But you just did it anyway because it was good. Right.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's not to say that that's like wrong, right? We've all done that before. But more, as I get older and wiser, I'm like, all right, I'm good.
Well,
I'm
and
happy
like
here.
like we said, it's all sort of how you balance it out, right? If
Yeah.
we have five, like you said, if there's 7 sort of meals over the holidays that you're kind of off, right? If 5 of them you're taking sort of this more, hey, I'm focused on interacting with other people and
Yeah.
chatting, and yeah, yes, I'm going to enjoy the meal, and I'm not going to necessarily track, right?
Yeah.
I'm just going to eat till like I'm
I'm
full, and
full.
sort of
Yeah.
yeah, it's fine. And then maybe 2 of the meals, like you really enjoy those meals, so you eat
Yeah.
probably more than you
Yeah.
should.
You get it in a little bit on them too. Right.
Yeah, it's, but then you've kind of even limited that sort of, that 7 really kind of becomes 2.
Yeah.
So there are easy ways to, I think, approach the holidays, not panic. If you're traveling, the other thing I would mention, just for any travel, just if you can plan ahead and have, it never hurts to have a protein bar on you in case you get stuck, because if you get stuck and then end up at a restaurant, you're probably not going to make the best food choice.
Yeah.
I've been there, right, where I'm like, I'm just, I'm super hungry. I'm, haven't eaten in 8 hours.
Yeah.
I'm ordering everything.
Try not to go to the
Everything.
restaurant super hungry. Yeah. Grab some. I always
Yeah.
tell people too, like, well, even if it's for like work travel, right, or
Yeah.
travel for
Exactly.
holiday, I'm like, go shopping when you get there. Grab some
Yeah.
things, whatever it may be that helps you just kind of like, hey, we don't know when we're going to eat again, or we're going out to eat later. Maybe eating at a time. Maybe you eat dinner at 5, and they're going out at 7, right? And you're just
Yeah.
starving, right? Grab some stuff, have it with you. It's a good way to kind of bridge the gap, if you will, and keep you from not being, just starving, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it also gives you options if there's food that you are
Yeah,
not a
maybe.
fan of. You're a picky
Yeah,
eater like myself.
yeah,
It helps a lot.
for sure.
So, all right. Kenny, thank you so much for coming on.
No problem.
Everyone out there, hopefully that helped with your any sort of issues or worries you had about getting through the holidays and staying at least somewhat on track. So hit us, like, comment below, all that fun stuff, and we'll see you in the future. Peace.
See ya.